In this video, I'm going to share my personal experience about changing career after my 40s. And I hope it's going to help those that are thinking about this or those that are already taking action. The idea is to go through what has been the process for me, what I consider it helps me, what I think eventually I could have done differently. For me, it has not been something quick, in the sense it has not been a decision that I take from one day to the other. I would say that from the moment I realized I was thinking to change at least company, to the moment where I start the first steps in the other career, it probably took me like 3 years. So for those who don't know me, I was an executive in the automotive industry for over 15 years. And today I'm a psychotherapist and coach. So I started from not feeling particularly at my place where I was, to the point where I realized really what I wanted to be and where I wanted to go. So when I start to not feel any more good as before, I was at the top of what I wanted, of what I planned in my life. So I was doing the job I want to do. I was getting very well. I had a really nice team. I was living in the city that I consider one of the most beautiful of the world. And I was making a job that allowed me to travel a lot. I couldn't ask more. And this, I think, has been what stopped me or kept me there for so long. And then also the fact that anyway, to arrive there, it has not been such an easy path. So give up suddenly to all this, I think that either my conscious mind or my unconscious mind were really not ready. But I felt there was something that was no longer perfect as before. Then step by step, month by month, I realized that it was no longer a way of, let's say, a feeling that I have to change company. I start to ask myself what was the meaning of all this, of this job. So I was starting to search for something deeper behind that I couldn't find. Then the attack of Paris, the 13th of November, that really shook me deeply. And there I realized really that life, it was short, and there were still quite a lot of things that I wanted to do, and that I had the feeling really that I was not really living, but I can't say survive, but anyway, I realized I had no joy in that, in what I was doing. It took me a few months for me to go through this after that night, and really to realize deep that I need to change. And then what gives me just only the last final push, it was a video of Prince Iya, I think, probably in English is like this. And I'm going to put the link here because maybe it might help some of you. So I remember I found it on early in the morning when I wake up. I just watch my phone and I watched this video, and it has resonated so much with who I was in that moment and what I need to hear. And 4 days after I resigned, so it was the 30th of April, and the 18th of May, I was on my one-way flight to Buenos Aires. So what I did before taking the final decision of resign, it was really to go through all my savings, try to understand in the worst case scenario and the best case scenario for how long I could have been able to live without finding a job. I made this calculation considering also that one part of those savings would have been used for realizing one of my dreams. And I decided to realize my dream to walk the Andes, cross the Andes from the south of South America, so from Ushuaia up until the north, and I did it. So that's why I took my one flight ticket to Buenos Aires and from over there to the south of Argentina. And I think that has been one of the best decisions I could take, because first, traveling for me is one of my deepest passion. I was realizing one of my dreams. Third, I was in completely full nature. That's something really that is so useful for me for the character that I have. And it was a full real adventure that allowed me also to meet people completely different, not only from me, but also from the people I was used to meet in that moment. Therefore, I could recalibrate my values, realize where I was and where I wanted to be. So I traveled for 3 full months, and I was already making a list of all the things that I loved to do outside of my job, in a sense, all my hobbies, passion, everything that for me is something where the notion of time is just, it doesn't exist. So I started day by day to work out this list and to try to imagine myself to do other things. And then in Bolivia at the Salar de Uyuni, that is at over 5,000 meter in altitude, and I was really super sick because my body didn't want to adapt for some reason to the altitude, despite medicine and local herbs or whatever they gave me to try to help me. My head was exploding. I had the impression I had a drill, constant drill in it, and I couldn't drink and I couldn't eat anything. It was already the fourth day, and I remember that it was decided that the day after they would have bring me back to a lower altitude. That night, in this deep full pain that wouldn't allow me neither to sleep, I had like a kind of, let's call it a kind of clear vision. So I come back from South America with a clear idea that I would have not searched for a job in the corporate world, but I would have gave myself the opportunity to try something completely different. For me, there were in that moment two different directions I wanted to take. Or food and a specific type of restaurant that I had in mind, or psychology in the sense to become a psychologist, because when I was a kid I wanted to be a psychologist. During the whole my career, in parallel, I have always spent my time in personal development and reading books and following courses and taking even certification around different techniques that might help me or not. The fact is that when I come back from South America, university where I double check their courses in psychology were closed, and therefore I decide to start the project around food. But a few months later, already I was not feeling was the right choice for me. And then I broke up with my boyfriend of that time, and I remember that the day after, to get distracted, to be focused on something else, I went on my computer and I started again to double check the different universities. And then I fall on the site of a school of psychotherapy, and there what hit me, it was not only that was exactly the type of school I was looking for, Carl Rogers one, but the funny thing it was that they had some kind of open door that week, and after they would have close all the application for a full year. So I just apply. I wrote my motivation letter. I wrote all the information I need. I collect everything. I send it out. And a few hours later, I was over the phone with one of the person of that school. And by the end of the week, I started. And since there, everything went super smoothly in that direction. And I could get one after the other all the different schools where I wanted to learn different techniques. I really tried on myself that I could use them with my future clients. So the things that I think helped me were, one, the fact that I had different jobs in my life. For example, I've been lifeguard, I've been a freelance translator, I've been engineer, business development manager, now coach and psychotherapist, but I have a long list. What helped me, it was that I was safe, or feeling safe about my saving. Another point, it was that I'm naturally curious, and I absolutely have a huge hunger about learning, developing myself, grow. And for 6 months, I was doing 3 schools at the same times. No one knew what I was doing. I didn't share it with others to be sure to not have to listen to their comments, to their thoughts, and to their fears, so that I could be fully focused on what I was feeling about the whole situation, and then be absolutely sure that was really the good thing for me. And last but not least, I have to recognize that I never really thought I'm too old for this, or I'm too old to change. Even if I think I was 43 or 44, this is something to which I didn't really think. For sure, I thought a few times, I can't do YouTube because I'm too old. But changing career, the fact of the age, it has not been at all one of my fear. Therefore, I'm sure that this really helped me a lot. Would I've changed something today? No. I'm happy with my choice? Yes. How do I know that it has been the right choice? The way I feel every day when I wake up, the way I feel when I work with my clients. And it's not easy, this process of change, but I would not change anything. So I hope this was useful for at least one of you. And if you need to exchange, because maybe you are thinking to do something, or if you have question or whatever, you can just write down below in the comment, or just write me directly. And if you enjoy, just like and subscribe, because it's going to help other people. Thank you very much for watching.